Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Sean Combs have one person in common.
Jaguar Wright is known to be a conspiracy theorist.
I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil.
Everyone wanted to go to Diddy's white parties when they were happening. If I got an invite, I would go, but there's a party within a party.
Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to.
Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters.
She's saying a lot of things that could be considered libelous.
I think if Diddy cooperates and gives up some big names of actual crimes that they committed, that'd be a way of actually lessening the amount of time that he does, or possibly even walking away.
I absolutely do not see him being victorious in a criminal trial.
This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through for decades. It must stop.
Candy?
You already know if I'm going to take it?
Wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't.
But if you already know, how can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it.
Welcome, my friends. My name is Antione Phoenix, and this is my RP experience. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters out there. Thank you for hitting the like button, subscribing, sharing, and turn on all notifications so you know when I have a whole new video up. Today's video is P. Diddy. Again! I had to do this because this is hot right now. And something happened that I did not think or expect to happen. Jaguar Wright appeared on Piers Morgan, and she went off. She went off. Now, DJ Vlad also made a appearance on there, but in his case, but at least I see his face. I've seen pictures, but I never saw him talk. I don't even know if I can use him, but because he is on Piers Morgan's show, I probably can use his behind family talking. So, I think she goes off for a good 10 to 14 minutes. So I'm going to let that play through. What do I think of Jaguar Wright? I've always heard her say certain things, but the thing that made her believable to me is some key points she's going to say in this interview that I was not aware of everything, but I knew she was in the industry. And it's also a curious thing that if she's lying, why haven't these people sued her or filed a lawsuit of defamation? Did I even say that right? Not sure. But let's get on to it.
Diddy's downfall has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. The blast radius from the uncovering of his alleged offences could yet swallow many more powerful and famous figures. Diddy is accused of creating a criminal enterprise which engaged in sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping, bribery and forced labour. His lawyers say he'll fight the charges, but after the testimony you're about to hear, you'll be staggered he avoided the attention of law enforcement for so long. I'll speak to a lawyer, a whistleblower and an insider for an uncensored insight into the showbiz scandal of a generation. And Jaguar, I'm going to start with you. You've been called a whistleblower. You knew Sean Diddy Combs for a long time. You attended a number of his infamous parties. And in 2022, you made headlines after comments where you called him a sex trafficker. And in response, you were called crazy and jealous. Do you feel vindicated
Yes.
by the events of the last few weeks?
No, not at all. Because he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally, the victims, they're not safe.
How bad was it?
That's what I care about. I care about the victims.
No, I understand. How bad was it, do you think, what was going on?
I'm going to tell you right now that me, as a woman who has been in the industry for over 30 years, I've been performing live since I was 13. My first handler was McKinley Horton. I come to find out 25 years later that a scar that was on his face with a very elaborate story he gave me was put there by a woman who he assaulted. To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be just avoid him, honey. It's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you.
So
You want to know why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
Cruelty-free artistry.
Right. There's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy. The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape. They all know it. It's a mess.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of, this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically. And Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Look, Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is Jay-Z. But a lot of people, famous people in the music industry, have been notable, like I say, by their silence so far.
And that right there is what I mean. Silence. No one's saying nothing. You would think that, and Jaguar Wright is saying some wild things. You would think she would have been sued by now. She would have had a person come forward and slap her with a defamation case. Jay-Z and them have plenty of money to do that. Now, I don't know if what she is saying is true, but the one thing that I know about, and this is a weakness that men have, women do it too to a certain degree, but, or just, this is a people thing, but when people are cool with people or they're entwined, police officers, police force, people that's cheating and stuff like that, a lot of times people know, people suspect what's going on, but they turn a blind eye and they don't say nothing. To not be a snitch, not to be a rat, to maybe to stay out of the business. In a lot of cases, I understand, because I know coming from the hood, if you say something and they know who you are, you will have other people see you, or they may see you because they won't be in jail that long. So I do get why people don't come forward. But when a person's talking crazy like she is and no one is saying nothing, that's when I'm like, it must be some truth, because it's nothing being said in their defense. Another thing that I need to add, like in Cassie's case, and I do not think she deserved what happened to her. My heart goes out to her and her family. But you cannot tell me that once she started getting in the industry, somebody did not warn her about getting with Diddy, getting with that man. I understand when she got with him, it wasn't easy to leave him because his money and power. But before she got into that water, she knew, and she left a decent guy. Maybe she thought that would not happen to her. Maybe she thought she would be a Jennifer Lopez that we never really heard anything about. But things went south. But I still have to look at her because you decided to still deal with that dude and get married to him. They did get married, right? But anyway, let her continue.
It's also been notable that since the Me Too campaign began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Since Me Too began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same kind of scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
guess they're on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Piers.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
Yes.
a new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy, and everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting air tag on children during visits, these are normal practices that these people do.
Jaguar, I've got to leave it there. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for caring.
I do care. Thank you very much. Well, I'm joined now by the host of Vlad TV, DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad, I mean, it's pretty horrifying listening to these testimonies. What did you make of what you just heard?
Well, Jaguar Wright is known to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't really co-sign anything that she says. I've never had her on my show, and I don't have any plans to have her on my show.
You don't believe her?
She's got an album in 20 years, and a lot of this stuff is just stuff she's heard, things she's making up, and so forth. I'm not saying that there aren't serious things that Diddy may have done, but yeah, I can't co-sign anything that Jaguar Wright is saying, if that's your question.
Well, I mean, obviously, since we last spoke, there have now been these charges against Diddy, which are incredibly serious. You didn't think at the time we last spoke that he was likely to face these charges. Are you surprised it's come to this?
I'm not surprised, because I feel that law enforcement in general is reactionary. I think that when you look at high-profile individuals, their arrests, indictments usually come after a documentary, a big TV show, or in Diddy's case, it was this huge lawsuit that Cassie filed that everyone got to see all the details and all the attention that came to it. So, yeah, it wasn't a surprise that it actually happened, because you've seen this happen over and over again. R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, all the attention that they got, and then now Diddy. So, yeah, I mean, this is ultimately the world that we live in. But he'll have his day in court. And, his lawyer said that he's not going to take a plea deal, because I think a plea deal at this point is probably going to be very heavy-handed, probably 20 years plus. So it makes sense for him to go to court. But we'll ultimately see what happens, because we haven't really seen, apart from some of the funny stuff of, there's 1 million bottles of lube that they found there. I'm sorry, 1,000 bottles of lube and so forth. We have yet to really see what the evidence is. And I think once we see the actual evidence, then people will actually formulate an opinion on what's happening right now.
Do you think there's a lot of people in the rap world in particular who are pretty fearful right now of where this may all lead? Is it a bit like the Epstein scandal, do you think?
I don't really think so, because, I mean, ultimately, everyone wanted to go to Diddy's white parties when they were happening. If I got an invite, I would go. But there's a party within a party. There's the actual party where the big celebrities go to, the Howard Sterns and the Leonardo DiCaprios and so forth. You never hear of any of them really being involved in any of this stuff. They go home, at 2, 3 o'clock a.m. And then there's the private parties that seem to involve the sex workers and probably certain types of people that are kind of in an inner circle. No. And we'll see if those names ultimately come out or not.
Okay, that's it with DJ Vlad. Because for one, maybe that's why he don't do videos where you see his face. Because he's looking all around, looking, searching for something. I'm not sure if he's telling the truth or not. And I'm pretty sure that he would keep some things to himself because of all the people he has interviewed. But something tells me he knows more than what he's saying. So that's pretty much it. I wanted this to be mostly Jaguar Wright's story right here, but I want to add my 2 piece, and I pretty much say the part of why people are being silent. And once again, even though I know there are lots of men that can be trash. I always notice with a lot of women, if the man has money and power, you don't care. A lot of you will still get with that dude when you know that he is the devil or a demon, thinking you can change him. Good luck with that. And Cassie lucked out because she's very beautiful to get a decent dude now. But not a lot of women that get in a relationship like that, and you can't tell me she has some trauma, and she probably picked up some toxicity being in a relationship with Diddy. So that's all I have to say. Give me a like and subscribe, and have a good day. God bless.
Here are some Diddy NBA facts. In 2007, in order to get the most All-Star fan votes possible, Gilbert Arenas paid Diddy $2 million to throw a massive party in order to drum up attention and make the All-Star starting lineup. This did end up working, as Gilbert Arenas received 1,454,166 total votes, and he barely edged out Vince Carter, who got 1,451,156 votes, so he won by 3,010 votes, making the All-Star starting five. So while the plan technically worked, Arenas said he hated the party. Only God knows what happened during that party. Sean Diddy Combs was also a part of the 2012 dunk contest. He helped throw an alley-oop to Chase Budinger. I'm surprised Chase didn't slip on the floor during this dunk attempt, but good for him for landing that dunk, although it seemed like Diddy enjoyed it more than Chase did. Ultimately, though, it was Jeremy Evans who won that dunk contest. Diddy attended the 2006 NBA All-Star Game. In this game, LeBron won All-Star MVP. A few years later, he ended up performing in the 2014 All-Star Game. However, the important news about that day is that Diddy claimed he threw an after party and danced with LeBron. Diddy, of course, attended Biggie Night in Brooklyn back in 2017 when the Nets retired Biggie Smalls' jersey. Obviously, Biggie never played in the NBA, but he is a Brooklyn icon.